Hello and welcome back to the Bears Den podcast. I'm Ben,
And I'm Ryker.
um, and we like to talk about some controversial opinions that we have, some opinions that would violate some people's human natures. That first one, Pop Tarts, they're just not good. Like they're kind of dry and they're too sweet. What do you think, Riker?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think, especially people who eat Pop Tarts on their own without like putting them in like the toaster or the microwave, I think the flavors that they give you are just very dry and similar to each other. It's just kind of like eating a graham cracker. And yeah, they're not like that sweet or anything. And the flavors that they usually come with are pretty lame.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's yeah.
Have you heard about the Pop Tart Bites?
No, I have not.
Basically, they are mini Pop Tarts where you can get them in a bag. So it's like a bag of chips, but Pop Tart bites,
Mm-hmm.
and they look
Huh.
kind of bad.
Have
Like,
you have you had a Sour Patch Kid cereal?
dude, I've seen that, and I've been
It's
like,
just as
"There's,
bad.
I'd never buy that. I'd never buy that,
Yeah, it's just as bad.
dude." Yeah, I
It,
don't know. I think when brands try to branch out to things that like
mm,
aren't their like traditional things, like Sour Patch. Obviously, they're known for like their Sour Patch Kids and their Sour Patch watermelon. But then like
mm,
when they try and make a cereal, I just think like combining those two, I think that makes no sense.
yeah, it
The
just
same
doesn't
with
work
like these
as a
Pop
cereal.
Tart bites because like they look horrible.
I guess next episode we'll have to try and see what that really tastes like.
What you got?
We'll
We
have
do
to
a
actually test
mukbang.
it.
We're eating like Pop Tart bites the entire time.
Yeah, next episode we're gonna try food.
Yeah. Next time we'll try Pop Tart bites. We'll try the Sour Patch cereal. We'll get a Mr. Beast burger.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Dude, you know those aren't even like real restaurants, right? Like that's I forget what they're called, but basically he's like going out to like other restaurants and they're doing like basically two restaurants in one. So your Mr.
Hmm.
Beast burger could be made in like a Buca de Beppo where
Oh
they make
really?
Italian food. Yeah. So it's like not a quality burger, which is kind of interesting. But I also heard he's like trying to fix that.
Yeah.
But that's really weird.
Um, I guess another thing that we're kind of talking about, which is pretty controversial, is that DC superheroes are, we think, more developed, I guess, than Marvel superheroes. And to kind of spot the argument, obviously Disney owns um the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we've gotten a lot of great Marvel movies from that.
Yeah.
But the DC characters, especially in the comics, are very well developed and have, I think, more adult themes and storylines that make them a lot easier to, I guess, vibe with and I guess kind of feel their story out. I think there's just a lot more to get just by watching or sorry, reading DC comics.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, especially the Batman movies, like in the 1990s, those were very
Yeah.
popular. But we haven't really gotten a really great DC movie in a while.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah. So, I mean, I wrote an entire article, which you can read on the Spectrum website,
We like it.
about Marvel movies and like how the success of like the MCU is so inspiring and whatnot. But I think DC is wasting a lot of potential because we've seen that like Batman movies, they can be serious, they can be gritty. With the like three Christopher Nolan movies, which are like considered to be some of the best superhero movies out
Mm-hmm.
there and just like movies. Um, and I think like the DC universe, like the film universe, is just wasting its potential. Like Wonder Woman was a pretty good movie, like but
Oh
like the
my
second
god.
one sucked. But like you said, the comics, it's just like so much like content in there that's like great for adapting to film that's just kind of being wasted for like Zack
Mm-hmm.
Snyder to say that Batman likes guns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You watched Aquaman, didn't you?
Yeah, I saw it with my family. That was like
Mm,
it was like campy. It was really
yeah.
weird.
Yeah, I
Like,
never watched Aquaman. I'm not sure
oh,
why, but I mean, Wonder Woman 2, we should talk about that. Oh my God. I think the biggest thing that my family had a problem with was kind of like almost like so basically the main I'll kind of explain it. The main if you didn't watch it, the main theme of the story is that
this is Wonder
basically
Woman
like
2, right?
yeah, I'm talking have you watched Wonder Woman 2?
Yeah, I saw it with my brother. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, it's like most of the story is a paradox.
Yeah,
Like
it's
basically what happens is like the
yeah.
stone and basically it can bring you your wishes almost, but
Yeah, but like
oh my God, I can't even
so
remember
so
it as
you
much.
so
It
no,
was
it's
so
like
bad.
you get one wish per like the stone, and if you touch the stone, you can be like, oh, I wish I was as tall as Ryker Kemberling, and then I'd grow to be 5'11". But there's always a drawback, and the stone would take something, so I'd like
Mm-hmm.
lose my smell, or like I'd get bad grades or something. And so like that's the
Mm-hmm.
whole concept. And so like Wonder Woman, spoiler, uh, we're gonna be talking about the plot probably, but like Wonder Woman like touches the stone and she's like, "Oh, I wish I had my true love, Steve Trevor back," and Chris Pine comes back, and then
Mm-hmm.
like Kristen Wiig's character is like, "Oh, I wish I was like just as confident as Diana." And like I
Mm-hmm.
wish I was Diana basically. And so then she gets like all of Diana's powers. But then
Mm-hmm.
her drawback is like, yeah, you're gonna turn into like Cheetah, like from, and you're gonna
Is
look
it an
like the
alpha
Cats movie.
predator? An
Yeah,
alpha predator.
which like it makes no sense. Like why she turned into a cheetah off of a wish. Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like there would have been a drawback to her getting Wonder Woman's powers that would have made
Mm-hmm.
more sense than her turning into a furry.
Mm-hmm.
And but then like Cheetah's not even like the main bad guy. Cheetah's
mm-hmm.
like kind of like in the background. The main bad guy is Pedro Pascal,
Mm-hmm.
who plays the Mandalorian, but he's like this like failing oil tycoon. He's like, "Oh, I promise you, there's oil in like this section, but there isn't." And he
Mm-hmm.
gets a hold of like the wish stone, and he's like, "I wish I became the stone." And it's like the stone becomes him, and then he like goes and like touches all these like where he's like shakes hand with these oil tycoons. He's like, "What do you wish for?" And the why like I guess I wish like I like my country back. That's like what one guy said. It's like, cool, okay, I'll take your entire security team. And then the security team just follows him. And it kind of just makes no sense. And then like they made the rule that like um you have to be touching Pedro Pascal to have your wish granted.
Mm-hmm.
But then at
Because
the
Pedro
end,
Pascal wishes for him to be the rock that gives
yeah,
you your
yeah,
wish, but the like we said, the rock also like returns you something bad in the process.
yeah.
So
And so like
the
Pedro
whole
Pascal is dying.
yeah, and so the whole problem with the movie is that it's almost like a paradox in which like so many people are wishing so many different things, and what happens is they give something bad back. It doesn't really make any sense because when you wish something, someone else can wish for it back, but then like the same effect happens.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And
yeah,
like
and there's a lot of problems like Wonder Woman doesn't have many combat scenes or anything like that, and
yeah,
it's
and
not
like
really
she
revolving
makes up
around her.
superpowers for herself.
Hmm.
Um,
And
and
then,
then like Pedro Pascal's powers get like changed for the plot purpose.
hmm and then also, yeah, what was the other villain's name again? I forgot her name.
Cheetah, with Kristen Wiig's character, Cheetah.
Yeah, she was developed way too much in the beginning of the story. Like she took up like a whole hour of the movie just kind of describing her situation, but she wasn't really used
Yeah,
all that much or very developed.
yeah. And like the final fight with her was maybe like 2 minutes long, and it was like super dark. You couldn't see anything, and
Hmm.
it just like it made no sense.
Hmm. I bet whatever we're describing, nobody understands if they didn't watch the movie.
People definitely stopped watching.
They're gonna people just stop watching the
If
podcast.
you sat through that, then like you like deserve an award.
Yeah.
But like that's just the wasted potential of like DC movies. Like Wonder
Hmm.
Woman is like a great character and like could be utilized so much better.
Yeah, the very first one, Wonder Woman, was amazing.
Yeah, like
Um,
it had so many different levels and like thematic choices that they made. That was just great. and like
Mhm.
amazing. And, like Gal Gadot was amazing. The action scenes were great. Like the costume design great, but then like this one just was weird.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess that's the opinion. But you know what's funny? Okay, we said that DC was better, but then we just described how bad Wonder Woman was.
And well, I mean, I think when we say DC Supers, I think we mean like the comics.
Yeah, I think
But
that's
like
right.
the movies, yeah, I think everyone can agree that the movies just suck. But the comics, like, or at least the characters, I think are better than the Marvel characters, and they're definitely more powerful too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's a new Batman movie coming out,
with
and
Robert Pattinson.
yeah, Robert Pattinson. I think he's a good Batman. The dude kind of
Yeah,
scares me
I think it'll be
already. Like
interesting. It'll
he
definitely be
reminds me
interesting.
of Batman just by looking at him.
Nice.
Maybe that's a
I don't
political
know.
opinion. I don't
I feel
know.
like I have to be. I feel like I have to be a little more convinced because like we've only had one trailer from them. I think it's
Yeah.
because their shoot got like COVID. I think either
Mm,
Pattinson, someone on the cast got COVID. They had to
mhm.
close down for a while, but I think it would definitely be like very interesting to see. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I guess another thing we want to talk about is Spotify Premium, and this is probably just a me problem, but unlike normal people who have Spotify, so like I'm the only one who really uses it in my family. So instead of like charging it to the credit card, I like buy a gift card every year so my parents' credit card isn't like charged, like without them knowing. But like I realized it when I didn't have it for a few days, like how freaking bad it is with all the ads. It's ridiculous. So like every 30 minutes you get an ad, and it's not just one ad, they'll put the same ad twice in a row. I'm just saying, people, if you have a Spotify Premium, just be grateful because the other one is so bad, and you get
Yeah.
bullied if you play an ad in the car.
You
Like
do
when
get bullied.
when
It's
someone asks
like,
you for the aux and then you play
yeah.
and you get
Like
an ad.
I was at a tennis camp and I bought this speaker. I was like, oh yeah, it's connected to my phone. It's like, and then an ad started playing, and they're like, "You don't have Spotify Premium?" I was like, "Dude, I'm like a broke high school student. I can't afford Spotify Premium. Of course I don't." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" Oh, um, yeah, like just having Spotify Premium is like amazing because like even base Spotify like on your phone, which is where most people are gonna be using it. Like, you can't pick a song. You
Mm-hmm.
can't like
You
search
just
for an
shuffle.
individual song. You can't.
I
You
think
only
you
get
can.
like six skips.
I think you can search, but you have to like
Can you?
actually.
No,
I can't even
I
remember.
thought it's just you have to like if you find well what if you find that song you can't click on it, isn't it? You have to
Yeah, I
like
think you have to add a playlist that the song is on.
yeah, and
Yeah,
then
you're
like
right.
and then even then you're only guaranteed to hear the song because you have to hit
Yeah.
shuffle play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
It's
like
pretty bad.
yeah, and then the ads. It's just like Spotify advertising Spotify.
Yeah, I think at that point use like YouTube Music or something because at least they
Yeah,
give you the option of
that's
choosing
true.
individual songs.
Or
Even
like
like you can't turn off your screen with YouTube Music. They give you less ads, I think, and just the option to shuffle is horrible. Like you can't
yeah,
choose a song. I think that would be a better alternative if people because I didn't have Spotify Premium for a while. I only got it like I think a year and a half ago.
same. Yeah,
And like I said, mine just kind of expired. But anyway, I got
yeah,
it back, and I realized how good it is.
yeah, and like
I mean, that's
also
probably not a hot take. I think most people are pretty annoyed by regular Spotify
yeah,
if they don't have it. But
yeah.
yeah,
But also like SoundCloud's also a pretty good place to get music.
oh
Like
yeah,
I know there's like the stereotype of like, oh, SoundCloud rappers, like that's all you're gonna find. But like no, they have like some pretty good stuff. They have like good remixes too, and they have like the originals too. Although
mm-hmm.
I will say the one drawback to SoundCloud is like sometimes they'll only give you 30 seconds of a song, because like that song's part of their SoundCloud Go, which is basically their like Spotify premium version, and they only let you demo the song, which is kind of annoying, but like at the end of the day, it's still
Mm-hmm.
music.
I think if you're more interested in alternative music, not like alternative, but like more uncommon music, like made by like smaller creators or things, I think that's a good place to really find new stuff.
Yeah. I think currently my favorite artist on Spotify is Little Tree.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Little Tree's
I'm a really big Little Tree fan
yeah,
too.
he's released a lot of like great music. You should definitely check him out on Spotify. I I heard, you had a feature on a Little Tree song, Riker. Whatever
Yeah,
happened to that?
well, I kind of had to do a feature for Lil Tree because he's gonna be the number one artist in the world
Oh,
in
for sure,
probably
for sure,
about
for
a
sure.
year and a half or so. I've already
Hmm.
predicted it. But yeah, I recorded a feature for Lil Tree about I guess a year and a half ago, freshman year. But the song just didn't really make it to the album. I mean, what happens is I've been in the studio with Lil Tree. He's very particular about what songs he wants and what features he wants. And I think he was just worried that I mean my lyrics were just too good for the album. Like he thought
Mm,
I was gonna carry the album too much. I think he was just really worried about that.
yeah, I've heard your flow. I've seen you play saxophone. It's just you're too good. You're too good.
Yeah,
I
you should
completely
hear me
believe
play
it.
piano. Yeah, that's even better.
No, I've never heard you play piano.
Yeah. Okay.
That'd be a
Next
fun night with the
episode.
boys.
Yeah.
Social
Next episode,
distance orchestra.
you'll hear me play. But yeah, shout out to Lil Tree. Um, look up on Spotify. He's gonna be big in a year and a half. You're gonna wish you listened to him earlier, so you
Oh
could
yeah.
be a day one fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like now I've ousted Riker for having a feature on Low Tree. He might be a little angry at me. It might cause him to want to fight me. So, that's something we've been wondering about, Who would win in a fight? Me or Riker Kemberling? You
Okay.
know?
I'll start out with this discussion. So at first, when this topic was brought up, it was a very tense moment. Um,
Mm,
my our conclusion was that in wrestling, I think Ben would completely destroy me.
mm.
I think I think Ben. Well, first of all, I'm like, bro, I weigh like a pound anyway. First of all, but then like,
Yeah, if we
I
if
feel
we
like
do a ratio, you're like 1 pound to like 20.
yeah, pretty much. But basically, like, I think Ben would really be able to like. I feel like if Ben grabbed me, I wouldn't be able to get away. I feel like it would be a very quick loss in that standpoint. I feel like Ben would probably have a really great wrestling stance, and I don't think I would be able to compete with that much strength. But the other side of this is when it comes to boxing, I think I could mess Ben up pretty bad because I think I have a pretty long reach. Not that Ben and I are professional fighters or anything.
Oh no, we'd probably be like windmilling all over the place.
Probably against anybody else, we would probably take a loss. But I think I have a good reach, and when it comes to the height advantage, unfortunately, Ben might take a loss in that standpoint. But maybe the next episode you could see a fight between Ben and I. You guys can place your bet.
COVID safe, obviously.
Oh yeah, yeah,
We'll
with
be
masks and everything.
we'll be 6 feet away at all times. We'll be taking
Yeah,
things very seriously, but 6 feet away. Wearing
yeah, of course.
masks. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. But
We
yeah, I
don't
don't know.
condone fighting at the Blake school.
Yeah.
This is
Do
a
not
friendly
fight at
battle.
school. Fight at home. Remember,
Hmm.
always get the consent to fight with your fighting partner. Riker, do I have your consent to fight with
Yes,
you?
Ben, you do have my consent.
And you have my consent.
Yeah,
So watch out. We'll be on the undercard of Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather.
yeah. Oh God, fight Jake Paul after.
Dude,
Okay.
oh my god. Yeah.
Okay, I guess we should move on just a little bit. We were talking about staying COVID safe, especially at the Blake school, and last episode we were kind of talking about the Blake Compact, and I mean everyone who goes to the Blake school or is hybrid currently need to sign the Blake Compact in order to still go to school and everything, and much of the information about it wasn't really released, but now we're into January. Today is January 23rd. There's information on it, so I guess I'll kind of tell you guys the most important things. Um, so a big thing is monitoring physical health. If you have a fever over 100 degrees, it says it's mandatory to report that. And even having a cough or loss of taste of smell or a sore throat, um, basically what it's saying is that even if you have like even a little cough or stuffy nose, it's not worth going to school. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, I know most of you didn't read the COVID compact, and I didn't, know this information until now, so that's why I'm telling you. But I've had friends who have had stuffy noses. This is before school started in the summer, and they actually were, they tested positive for the coronavirus after. And so, like, even little things you never know could be symptoms of the COVID virus. So that's something to really remember, and that's something you should really follow. And then this is when you sign the compact, you have to agree to participate in an interview by a member of the Blake COVID response team if they have any concerns about your symptoms or illness. So that means if someone asks you, it's not that like you really like you kind of have to answer to them. You don't really have a choice to say, "Oh, I wasn't there," or if they have any concerns, it's probably best for you and everybody else just to answer to them. And then another big thing that's kind of controversial at Blake is wear a face mask and maintain appropriate social distancing at all times when interacting with others who are not part of our immediate household. And so I think the reason why this is controversial is that during COVID, I think most people have tried to stay safe, but a lot of people have like their friend groups that they kind of hang out with. And I think with these little friend groups, most people stay safe just because they're not really interacting with anybody else. It's just like a tight knit group. But it's important to remember, even with this group of people that probably aren't going to spread or anything, you still have to wear a mask. Even if your parents are vaccinated or anything like that, most people aren't. It's not about your parents, it's about you. Because if you're out with somebody, and even if you and your friend are staying safe, you never know what could happen. And so it's really not that hard to put on a mask. I mean, if at the cost of everybody's lives, I mean, why not put a piece of fabric over your face for
Yeah.
a few hours when you're with somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess another thing to say is if you are diagnosed with COVID-19, or if you do go out of state or out of country, you have to quarantine for 14 days. This is as of December 14. It highly discourages out-of-state travel, and yeah, but it says that Blake encourages but does not require the same. So this is by governor. The governor did state this, and I think a lot of Blake faculty understand that a lot of Blake parents do have to travel out of state in the country, but this is more for students. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess the main message is if you don't get COVID, I guess a lot of this stuff or all the problems that come with getting COVID, like with like getting in trouble, don't really apply to you. But I guess the biggest thing is just be conscious of what you're doing and just don't make any irrational decisions and just try to follow the best as you can, because people have been worried about getting in trouble. What if I do this? What if I do that? Just stay safe. You won't have to worry about the problems that come with that. So I guess that's the biggest thing when talking about the Blake Compact.
Yeah, I think there's like a lot of good like rules and standards to have. I think the only problem is like how are you going to enforce like people social distancing or people wearing masks when they go to see each other? Like I'm like because like we've seen that people can be irresponsible and that like even though they know that they should wear masks, they won't. It's like, can you really enforce someone like to do that?
Yeah, I mean you can't.
I mean, technically you can, and that's what. And honestly, actually, that pact does that because it's like, if you don't sign it, then you just can't come to school. And if you do, and if you sign this, then you have to agree to all this. So if you find out that you're in violation, then like, that's a pretty big thing. I don't know what the punishment for like violating the pact is. I don't really want to find out personally, but like, I'd imagine it'd be pretty severe because like you are playing with like someone else's life. Like even though it may
Mhm.
not seem like it, you are playing with someone else's life, like
Mhm.
in your hands.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit more. So you're saying like in theory, this pact holds you responsible, but like for example, I'm talking about the consequences, especially in my advisory. I think if you accidentally spread COVID to somebody, I think faculty is going to understand the situation. But for example, if there's like a big group of spreading and they track you down to a party, that's when you could get expelled. There's going to be a really big, problem with that.
Yeah,
That's going to be the biggest problem.
yeah. I think it's a unneeded risk that someone could take,
Mhm.
that they like didn't need to take.
Yeah.
Um, and I also think the thing about like so um, healthcare workers and like volunteers, they're getting vaccinated obviously because like they work with like some of them work with the elderly, and the elderly are like the most susceptible, and then also the elderly are like getting the vaccine. But that doesn't like if you have one in your household, like both your parents or your sibling who like could also be in healthcare, like have um the vaccine, that doesn't excuse your actions because like you might be like, oh, but it's herd immunity. Well, immunity only works at your house because like you're like a small percentage. But then if you like go and like think of it in like as a country, as a world, actually the vaccinated people are really a smaller percentage, and like herd immunity doesn't really work until the vaccine can get like rolled out faster to more people. So like that mentality of like, oh, my parents are vaccinated, I can freely do what I want, doesn't
Mhm.
doesn't it doesn't sit well with me, and I don't think it's the right attitude to have.
Mhm. And I mean, I think the best way to think about it is like the worst case scenario. I'm not sure exactly what the odds are of even like, let's just say like a child of our age dying from the COVID virus. But even if it's like 1 out of 1,000, imagine how horrible that is that someone our age would die from the virus or
Mhm.
anybody's age.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not worth the risk. I mean, and it sucks to stay at home. I mean, and wearing a mask can be kind of annoying sometimes, but I mean, I think we're kind of on the stretch. I mean, we're getting vaccines being passed out, and it's going to take a long time. But I think at the end of the day, we can definitely do this
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. I think like calculating probability and then actually seeing probability in like real life work is like
Mm.
two very different things, like you said. And then also I agree, like we are in the final stretch. Like I'm pretty sure like with the plan, and I think Biden might be changing some things too so that it goes faster, but like most people will have been vaccinated, or like the vaccine will become like public or something for like everyone, and not prioritize for people by maybe summer. I would not quote me on that. I would do some more research. I should do some more research, but like we are in the home stretch, and like
Mm-hmm.
I also think like with all the bad that COVID has caused, it's also like it's shown us like some of the things that we used to do, like our carelessness, and it's kind of shown us like how we can be more cautious and how it's not that hard to be more cautious. Like just wearing a simple face mask to go to the grocery store is now like so vital and so
Mm-hmm.
important. And it's like it's the small things that like really matter now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were just talking about the Biden administration, and just recently we had an inauguration. Um, and obviously during the Capitol, I guess during the attack of the Capitol, there is a lot of worry about what would happen during Biden's inauguration. But um,
It
from
went
what I've
very
heard
smoothly.
and what I've looked up, there really hasn't been much conflict when it's
Yeah.
come to that. And I think the security has very much increased since that point. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good thing to hear.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Um, I
yeah,
think
that's the.
yeah.
No,
I
you can
think.
be going.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Um, yeah, the inauguration, it went off really well. Like I know I watched it in advisory. I don't know if you did. Did you?
No, I didn't watch My Advisory.
Oh, you didn't. Okay. But I
Mm,
know we watched it in advisory, and like it went like very well, very smooth. Um, like no hitches, which is great because I think this is honestly like what we needed. Just like it's like a major event in our country happening without
mm-hmm,
any conflict. And like I
mm-hmm.
know like this is just one small part of like a very major event because like usually it's a peaceful transfer of power from like one party to another, but like with the capital obviously this one isn't that peaceful. um but it's still important to
Because
note that like the capital or not the inauguration like went so smoothly and like so wow, like
mhm.
especially like a week after the capital was attacked.
Yeah, I think it's also important to remember that not just it's not just important for America or the United States, I guess I could say, but like everybody around the world. Um, whether people like it or not, most of the world is watching the United States. It's just one of those places where like people I think I feel like when I talk to most people who aren't from the country, everyone knows about United States politics and they watch what happens here. And I think it's really important to set that precedent that like everything in America is or in the United States is going or is everything's up to code. I mean, I think when a lot of people think of the United States as a land of freedom and like stability in the way that government in the way its government functions, and this is kind of scary to see, especially living in the United States and I mean across the world. So I think that's really important for Biden's inauguration to really go as well as it did.
Yeah. Because I feel like definitely like people have been watching and like people have been noticing that like America has been kind of falling apart, or not
Mm-hmm.
America, the U.S. has been kind of falling apart. But this shows that it's like not falling apart. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's more under control than
yeah,
what it
it's
seemed
like
like a few weeks ago
yeah,
after the
it's
Capitol
getting more
raid.
under control. It's like it's changing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also I'd like what's really interesting is that you say that like other countries like general public or like governments are paying attention to American politics in America. But then like
Mm-hmm.
if you ask them like at least this like our classmates or like um or people on the street like they probably don't pay attention to like foreign
Yeah.
politics, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is really interesting. Is that America, everyone pays attention to it, but it never pays attention to anyone else. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like I don't think like if you went up to a Blake student right now, I don't know if they could tell you uh, what the system of government the England has, or what like France has, but
Mm-hmm.
or like or at least like what parties they have.
Or like
Um,
how they function and
yeah,
how exactly. Yeah.
yeah, like you're
And like
probably able to
and
go up like to America and say like something about politics or like something about our political system, and they'll know. But then like you ask them
mm-hmm.
the same question about a different country, and they have no clue.
Mm-hmm. I think and like yeah, if you ask me, I like I kind of make it I kind of try to learn about other countries and their governments and how they function. So I know a little bit, but like not to the extent that I feel like a lot of foreigners know the United States. Like it's kind of interesting to think that like even people across the world know a lot of U.S. states and where they reside
Hmm.
in the United States. Like that's kind of crazy because if like I can't like for example I take Spanish, I've learned a lot about Mexico, and I have trouble naming. I can't like name all the sectors and all like the cities and everything and like where like it's kind of crazy just to know that other people know a lot of states and everything.
Yeah,
You know, even like provinces in Canada, like people in the United States don't even know like the provinces in Canada,
yeah.
and people all over the world know where the United States are and where the United States is in all the states that reside in it. I mean, that's kind of crazy,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, um, like we both took AP US history last
mm,
year, and personally, I was kind of like I like learned a lot of new things that I did not know about the US that like in that course, and it's like I don't think like I would have ever found that out if I didn't take that course. And it's like they're like some of these things are like kind of small, not really important events, but like some of them are very important events that like just not many people know, which I think is like very interesting that like we as a country don't even know our own history sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, that's how it is. And I think a really big reason why a lot of countries follow, or not follow, but kind of watch United States is just because we have such a control of media. You know, most music and movies come out of here, and I think United States compared to a lot of other countries is very polarizing in its opinions, and in general, it's like a big pot of mixtures of people and ideas, and I think the media and the mix with how diverse the country is really brings the attention that's been on it for so long.
Hmm.
And I think that's where, because you have to think like Americans, it's kind of interesting just for us to like make a political, not really political podcast. This isn't really a political podcast, but just for us to like state these kind of strong opinions. Like a lot of other countries in the culture around kind of speaking out isn't as great as like almost as American free
Yeah,
speech is.
like
Not that it's like censored, but just like we kind of like you'd kind of be like alone, or I don't know how I'm trying to describe this. Almost
we don't have as
like
much censorship in like America as other countries do.
not yeah, like I understand that, not just censorship, but just like
Freedom,
just the idea to just speak out.
yeah. So like
Not
freedom
like
of
not in
speech.
terms of censorship, but just like culture, the culture of doing it. Like I feel like a lot of countries like speaking out and like really saying your opinion is kind of like it'd be kind of strange almost. Like
Hmm.
I think a lot of other countries tend to try to like keep it on the low, but I feel like a lot of Americans are proud to really speak out, even if it's very controversial.
Yeah.
Like
I feel-
not even when it comes to censorship, but just but
mhm,
yeah, there are countries that do censor,
yeah.
or there are a lot of countries that censor the words of their other people.
Yeah. I think
Mm.
like not revolution, but like speaking out against the government. I mean, like, or not like speaking out against like the higher power. That's like that's kind of what America is. Like the original colonies, you know, they spoke out because like they're being unfairly taxed by the British, and like they weren't having a fair representation or a fair voice in the British government, and so they spoke out, and like they they uprose because of that, and like I feel like that's like the beginning of American culture is just like you are you're faced with something you don't like, so like you decide not to flow with it, but decide to like fight against it and
Mhm.
change it so that it is something that you like and like is better overall.
Mhm. And I guess another topic I kind of want to go into is I think a lot of people have made fun of this is Trump being censored on almost every social media platform, even like Pinterest and Spotify and
Yeah.
things like that. And I guess to go in my own opinion, um, I don't believe in censorship at all. But I think in the case of President Donald Trump or past President Donald Trump, it's one of those things where it like kind of goes against two of my morals, because the thing about Donald Trump is many of the things that he said have been proven false. So the things that he says on Twitter and any other social media website have been used to kind of spark protest against like using like illogical information.
Hmm.
And so that's obviously something that shouldn't be happening. But like also I said, I don't really believe in censorship. So it's really hard to like kind of I think that's what a lot of people have problems with, because the United States is so used to being a country where like there's virtually no censorship whatsoever, unless it has to do with like death threats or anything. But yeah, I think that's just kind of a topic I wanted to lean in a little bit or just add to that.
Yeah. Um, yeah, the modern media is like it's very interesting because like before like before social media, before all of like the ways that people communicate now, like a lot of the problems that we have now probably would not exist. Like fake news. I
Mm,
remember like when the whole like Trump versus Hillary thing was happening. One of the big controversy that happened was one of those like fake news places published an article saying, "Oh, this like pizza shop is a front for like a like sweatshop or a child labor camp for like Hillary Clinton," and some guy like believed it, and he drove to that like pizza shop, and then he shot it up, and it was fake, and he didn't fact check it, and like he just did that because like of his political beliefs, and like that was like a big event. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think it's like this mass amount of like false information getting spread, and like people not really paying attention to it. It's like you read the headline, you don't read the article, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because
And,
like that's where all your information comes from. But like
mm-hmm.
I also think places are doing a better job of handling it. Like on Instagram now, every time that you see like a meme or something relating to COVID, there's always that little thing at the bottom saying like, "See you here for more COVID guidelines," or you'll get posts that are censored because it's like, it's not censored. It's more of it has like it's blurred, and then it's the text of this post contains like false information, and then it'll be like click to see post, and then you can view it, but like you know that like that post isn't real, it's like fake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a tough contradiction in American society. We're so used
Yeah,
to not being censored whatsoever, and now things are being censored. And it's not like they're being censored for no reason. I mean, they're fact checked, and when things are censored, they're most likely wrong. And the thing is, it's not like it's against the law either. I mean, these are private companies doing like these things. Like social media companies are private, and they have full right to do this. And so I think that's a thing it's gonna be a really big topic in the
yeah,
future. I mean, even more than it is already now.
yeah. Like
And yeah,
the whole Mark Zuckerberg like listening in on your data and
mm-hmm.
like everything. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Social media has caused a lot of complications as well
Yeah,
as a lot of good benefits. But
yeah.
yeah,
I think in talking about those good benefits, actually, I feel like we like to focus on the negatives that social media has done. Like
mm-hmm.
we basically just like bash social media for like a
Mm-hmm.
solid 5-10 minutes there. But I think we also like
Mm-hmm.
forget all the good that it's done. Like it's reconnected people. It's like saved lives in some case. Like I read a BBC article maybe 2 years ago about how this like 15-year-old boy was like playing Call of Duty with an online friend who's like this lady in Britain. And he started to have a seizure, and she realized, and she was able to call the police from Britain and call the police like in where he was living, and they were to go to his house and like save him. And it's um, like it's good and bad that's being done by social media and like this modern media era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah. Um,
Oh yeah, we went pretty far into that topic. I
yeah.
think that was good though. I think that's a
Yeah.
lot. I think that's what a lot of people are talking about right now.
Yeah.
So I think it's good
Definitely.
that even if people don't care about our opinion, I think I'm kind of happy just to talk about that.
Oh yeah. I think it's important to talk, you know.
Yeah, I completely agree. But I guess moving forward to like more of a lighter topic, we're kind of talking about I guess more movies and TV. I know we kind of like to talk about movies and TV a lot. We kind of just talked about DC a little bit ago, or DC superheroes. Um, but Ben just watched what's it called,
WandaVision.
WandaVision,
Yeah.
and I guess he has a few opinions on it. I have not watched it, so I'll let him take it away here.
Like I don't know. It's like it's weird. It's definitely weird because like something is like messing with reality. I don't really want to spoil any of the episodes because you haven't even seen it. So like I don't
No,
want to ruin it. So if it gets better, but like um
why exactly is it weird? Like, how is it different than a regular TV show that you used to watching, or like a sci-fi TV show?
it's very meta. Like the episodes are framed like a sitcom, but it knows that it's a sitcom.
Mhm.
Like this, like the episodes are like in the universe themselves and are like framed as a sitcom, but not actually a sitcom in the. It's like hard to explain. You just have to watch it. But like I'd say like the first two episodes, you'll be very confused, and then the third one, you'll get even more confused, but somehow less confused at the same time.
No, because I've watched commercials from it. Yeah, it looks like it's in black and white, like from the 40s or 50s or something.
That only happened for like the first two episodes. The third one's all in
Gotcha.
color. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But like you said, it looks like it kind of plays a part as like an older sitcom. But I think you've told me a little bit. It's gonna change into more of like what the show is actually about. It's kind of more of an intro, like two intro episodes into
Yeah.
what WandaVision is about.
Um. So I heard. So I can't remember where I heard this, but I heard that. So there are 9 episodes, but so the first 6 will be like parodying these sitcoms, and with each episode, it'll be aging a decade up. So like the first two, it was like 40s and 50s, or well, anyways, the third one's whenever like color was introduced. So it's either I think that might be the 70s then. So the next one's probably gonna be 80s, then 90s, then 2000s, and then the last 3 are gonna be more like actual episodes, and like not the sitcom format. But it's really weird. I don't know. Yeah.
Actually, sounds pretty cool though. Like
Yeah.
it's time changing. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably watch that eventually, and I'll probably next episode I'll probably talk about that as well.
Yeah.
And I guess another movie that came out, and I think it was on Disney Plus or was it Netflix? Was
It's
Soul.
Disney Plus, yeah.
Me and you haven't watched that, right?
I actually have seen this. I saw it with my parents. It's a really nice movie. We saw so I guess we never said what movie, but it's Soul by Pixar. It's like Pixar's latest movie. And I really liked it. Like the themes explored in it are like very, very like adult themes, especially like for a kids movie to like be talking about it. It's like very interesting. Um, you'll have to watch it, but like I think like it's it's a very well balanced movie between like having moments and like themes for kids, and then having like moments for like older, not the target audience, and blending them together. And like no matter what, I feel like no matter what age you are, when you watch that movie, when you watch the movie, like you will learn like a lesson, or you'll take something away from the movie.
Sounds pretty good. Like a good family movie, right? Like you could
It's a very good family movie.
You could watch with your parents and then maybe you
can watch it with Cade. I'm sure Cade would love to watch that movie.
Cade's a freshman, but I mean, I guess
he's a freshman now.
Yeah.
Dude,
if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, my brother Cade is a freshman.
For some reason, I thought he was still in middle school.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like it, but he's a freshman now.
I don't know. The freshmen take a year. Like,
yeah,
he'll be normal in a couple months.
I'm still kind of a freshman, but
yeah, that's true.
That's okay.
That's true. That's facts, bro.
I mean, yeah. If we want, I guess if we're gonna keep going into movies and TV shows, well, obviously we're talking about movies and TV shows we like, but I'm just keep going. Ben and I are both Star Wars fans, as probably everybody's tired of hearing. But Ben and I, well, okay, Ben, you just recently watched The Legend of Korra, which isn't Star Wars, but it's Avatar.
Which we're also both fans of.
Yeah, and I just recently finished
Clone Wars.
What is it? The Clone Wars TV series.
Mm-hmm.
I guess do you want to talk about Korra first?
No, let's talk about Star Wars.
Okay, we'll keep it on Star Wars, guys.
Yeah.
But so, man, where should I start? When did you watch Clone Wars, Ben? When did you first watch it? Or
when
even
I
heard of
first
it?
watched it,
Mhm.
the first
Like
time I
complete,
watched it was when it was just a TV show, not TV, when it was just a movie.
mm,
Like my dad
gotcha.
came home and he was like, "Ben, I have like this DVD for you with
Oh,
like
gotcha.
Clone Wars," and I watched that movie, and I just like kept watching that like repeat.
hmm
And then I found out there was a TV show, and I started watching that, but
hmm
then I never finished it. And then once it came to Disney Plus, that's when like I grinded through all 7 seasons.
hmm So yeah, I think so. The Clone Wars TV show, I think, first released in 2007, 2008,
Yeah,
and I've always really been into Legos and stuff like that. I mean, like when I was little, I used to collect a lot, but like now, I guess when I got old, I don't really buy as much. I still like resell it a little bit, not really opening stuff, but resell it. But anyway, that's about Legos. When I was little, I used to like really be into Legos, and I never really watched the Clone Wars on TV, the TV show, because it was on TV for a while. But I always like bought the Lego sets when I was little, and that's when I really like got when I first heard of it. But until recently, I never watched it, and I watched the Clone Wars movie. So there's a movie, and then there's like a TV show, and not Attack of the Clones like on the prequel, but there's a movie for the Clone Wars movie series, and the movie is kind of mid compared to the actual series. But yeah, I just watched it, and I think if you're into Star Wars and you really like the prequels and all the story behind it, I mean it has so many great characters, and there's so many great like movie or not or like episode moments, I guess. It's just so
mm,
hard because Clone Wars is seven seasons long. It's a lot to watch. It really
yeah.
is. And also there's a few episodes that are really bad. Like for
The
example,
Jar Jar Bink ones. The Jar Jar
and
Bink
then
ones.
a lot of the droid episodes as well, where it's just like droids having to go
Oh, I remember that
explore
arc. That
something.
one. That one was pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
Except
and
the
there's a few
final was good. The finale of that arc was pretty good.
there's a few of those, but yeah. Um I guess it's really hard to talk about um the Clone Wars TV series without going into every like specific episode or every season as a whole. But I would say if you're really into Star Wars, just try it for the first time. I feel like a lot of people don't like animation, and I wasn't really a big fan of animated TV shows or anything. I kind of watched it for the nostalgia at first, but then the more I watched it, the more I kind of realized it really does have a lot of Star Wars lore and background. And like if you are
Mhm.
into Star Wars, it's really great to watch. You'd really enjoy it.
Yeah,
But
I
I
think.
think people, I feel like people who aren't into Star Wars, I think you need to wait on that. I think you need to watch the original movies first.
Yeah,
I
I think
definitely think that.
if you're not that into Star Wars, just like stick with the movies. Um,
Mhm.
I think you'll be good. You'll be good enough with the movies. Like the original trilogy is like a masterclass in like VFX and somewhat storytelling. I don't know.
Mhm.
The story can be kind of hokey sometimes, but the prequels, they're a good laugh, and you can just pretend that the sequels don't exist.
Mhm. I wish yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Like, but like Clone Wars is just like it's like what Ryker said. It's very topical, or not topical, but like very. It does a very good job at making care about situations that like are like that could happen in the real world that you probably wouldn't care about. Um, and it also like gives character development to like every single character.
Mhm.
Like what I was surprised about was after watching Clone Wars, there's a character, the one who I forgot her name, but she's basically this character who like betrays the Jedi Temple and like betrays and she's the one who set up Ahsoka. Do you remember
Oh
her?
yeah,
Yeah,
what's her name?
Varys, whatever.
Yeah, Barrios. Yeah.
I think it was very interesting because like when you watch Attack of the Clones, she's literally like in the first shot. Like she's in uh Chancellor Palpatine's like throne room, like with the other Jedi, like with her Jedi Master. And it's like,
Yeah,
wow.
you're talking about Attack of the Clones, the movie.
Yeah, the movie.
From like the prequels.
Yeah, the live action movie.
Yeah, and she was a Padawan of General Andula, who I think he was also featured in.
Yeah, they're both in there. And it's like, wow, like now that I know all this context in the TV show, which is, by the way, it's canon. The TV show's canon. It's like, now I know who those people are. And it's like, that's crazy. And like the deaths in like Revenge of the Sith, they mean so much more because of the character development given to those people in Clone Wars.
Yeah, and I think another thing to notice is that like the clone troopers and the way that they function in the story is very loosely based on World War II. Like the clones almost like they like talk like soldiers, and like I'm not sure how to explain it. Like they're ranked like how they, you know what I'm trying to say? It's really hard to explain, but like it's kind of like the battle scenes that happen are very interesting because they seem almost lifelike, like something that could really happen like that, except for it uses Star Wars technology. Like the clones talk to each other like they're real soldiers, and like the ranks and the way that like they interact with each other is very like realistic, almost as if you watch like a World War II movie or heard or read about it, things like that. I think there's a lot of pros you could talk about the Clone Wars, and it's really hard to go over because there's just so much to get into. But
it's just like a very deep show. And then like moving on to another very deep show is Avatar, which like came out 2004, I think. It's like, you know, Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's like one of the best TV show, considered one of the best TV shows like out there. Like you'll still have fans talking about it, and it's been like over 10 years since that show came out.
Well, it came out in 2004, so
yeah,
it wasn't 10 years, but
no, it is 10 years. It's almost 20.
We're 2021, so
yeah, it came out 2004.
Almost 20.
Yeah, so 3 more years and it'll be 20 years. So it's like a 17-year-old show, and you'll still find like Twitter threads, Tumblr threads, Instagram threads, like anything of people talking about Avatar, because I think of the themes that are in it.
Well, I think what happened is when it came back on Netflix, a lot of people went to rewatch it because I think a lot of people watched it as kids. I think I was kind of too little to really understand it, like then that it came out in the early 2000s. So like I think when I was little, like I would watch like little snippets of it, or I would see it on TV, but I really never watched it. But like I think it got a lot more popular because it came back to Netflix, and that's when I kind of got more into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time I watched it is I saw it. Oh my god, I saw it at a Blockbuster.
Oh really?
Yeah. If anyone who doesn't know what a Blockbuster is, you're too young, so you can just stop listening right now. But I saw it at Blockbuster, and it was like a disc of the entire season 1, and so I got that disc and I watched it, and then I got the second disc, and then for some reason I skipped the 3rd season because I didn't see it. So I saw the 4th season, and then my brother's like, "Yeah, Ben, there are only 3 seasons."
4th season, bro. What are you talking
no,
about?
wait, what did I do? Oh no, never mind. I did not skip the season. I did not skip the season, but I think the time gap, the small time gap that there was between the 2nd and 3rd one, threw me off when I was a little kid. And also my brother didn't help because he was like, "Ben, there's a 4th season," which there isn't. There's only 3. But then like I also started revisiting it when like Netflix became a streaming platform, and they had it on their roster, and I'd like watched that. It was great. But what I really wanted to talk about was the second season, or not the second show, the sister season, Legends of Korra, because I feel like that is a very controversial show because people people really like it or they just hate it.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while, I was like one of those people who like hated it, because like when I'd seen it, I was like, I didn't like I just didn't like it. But now that I'm like rewatching it, I wouldn't say it's like a bad show, but like I also wouldn't say I think the problem is that people really like Avatar, me included, and like Korra isn't as good as the original series, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's what hurts it is because Korra is being held to that standard, but like since they can't meet it, people like think it's worse than it actually is. I
Mm-hmm.
will say like there are like some like some of the writing's kind of weird sometimes, and like the plot is kind of hokey too, but like the animation's great, the voice acting's great, like the storyline, even though it can get weird sometimes, is like for the most part like very solid.
Mm-hmm.
um I
And
don't know. Yeah.
I'll go into that a little bit more. So I think the show as a whole, it has more adult themes, I would say. So I think one of the biggest things is like what makes somebody good, what makes somebody evil. Like very big like themes like good versus evil, good versus good, you versus yourself, things like that. And I think as a whole, if you did watch Avatar when you were younger, which not like the people who are watching, like we Ben and I said, like we kind of missed it. Like you kind of missed when it was really like the early Avatar stage
Mhm.
anyway. But like if you're older, I think you might like the themes a little bit more. But like Ben was saying, I think the action can be a little bit hard. I don't know. I think what Ben was saying is really true that this Avatar, the original Avatar: The Last Airbender, was really great, and it's really hard to beat it. And I think another thing is that the characters in the Legend of Korra are hard to like. I think a lot of people don't like Korra just because she's not very powerful, and like she has a lot of like she didn't seem. I don't know. I think a lot of people don't like how she develops as a character is very different to Aang. Like she's not
She's
very
more
powerful.
dependent on people.
Yeah, she's like Aang seems like a very like powerful kid who seems to know what he's doing most of the time, but Korra seems to have a lot of troubles being like the best avatar she personally can. And I think also like the other characters aren't very well developed. It's really hard to like they don't really have much of a character arc. It's
Mm-hmm.
more of that characters are added and they kind of just go with the flow. But I think like the main characters like Mako and Korra and well, I'm forgetting the characters right now.
Bolin and
And
Asami.
Bolin, yeah. And then also you have I mean there's a lot of other ones. And I think it's cool how they add old characters from the old like from Avatar, the
Yeah,
original
those
show.
are honestly those were the best bits. Like
Mm-hmm.
seeing the old characters.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's kind of like Star Wars sequels where like they just add old characters to try to make it better. But what happens is that the characters, like the main characters of like the sequels in Star Wars or like the sequels, not the sequels, but the Legend of Korra, they're like they're kind of lackluster. Like they don't really have much development,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to like them as much. And so basically, you're
Mm-hmm.
getting the most entertainment from seeing how the old Avatar characters or the old trilogy characters have grown up and what they're like then.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like with the new like gang, that's like the Avatar group, like
Mm-hmm.
the main friend group. Like in the original show, they all had their own unique personalities. Like they were all like um developed with
Mm-hmm.
care, and like they all had their own thing. Like Sokka was like brilliant, but also like comic relief, and that
Mm-hmm.
worked because like that
Mm-hmm.
just worked. Whereas like
Yeah, but as the
here,
show as the show
yeah,
went on, like he became less comic relief and more of like a well developed like older character like who's
yeah,
wiser with
yeah.
like he really developed, but like yeah like
was like
Korra,
in Korra, like the main comic relief is definitely like Bolin, but his jokes just don't land like Sokka's. I don't know.
yeah, it's like Sokka is so like corny that it's actually funny, just because it's like ironic how
Yeah,
bad the jokes are, and like the show makes it like that.
yeah,
But
like
like how I feel like how it is, like if you're a kid and you listen to Sokka's jokes, it's like funny. But as an adult, it's funny because you know that the writers made them so bad, almost
mhm,
ironically, and it's funny for that reason as well.
yeah. Whereas like Bolin, it's just kind of like it's very childish. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's the thing of like loud noise equals funny, so you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Like what he's saying, like it's kind of funny, but it's just because he's like shouting it or something.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. Um,
But yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Like if you really like Star Wars, or if you really like Avatar, the original one, it's really, you would want to watch Korra, or you would want to watch the Clone Wars TV series. And
yeah.
if you're not the biggest fan, then don't watch it for both Star Wars and, not that
Yeah.
you're not a big fan, you're just not as involved.
Yeah. If you don't feel like watching it, then you don't have to.
Because true fans, or like not true fans, but more involved fans, are fans enough to get over the problems and enjoy the good parts of it. And when you're just kind of a regular fan, you're more just looking for like the great parts and more of the action, rather than kind of
Yeah.
like the
The fan
legend
service, like
and
yeah.
And
I
that's
think
how I think of it.
I think that's a good lesson to take away. It's just like enjoy that you got it
Mm-hmm.
instead of looking for what you want. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's like we
Mm-hmm.
should be happy that we got like a continuation of the Avatar universe, and got to see like more characters and see what else happened, and also like see a continuation of like the Clone Wars, because that entire period was like skipped by George
Yeah.
Lucas in the original prequels, and so like we should just be happy that we had Dave Filoni, we had the creators of Avatar like make these series.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree.
Yeah. So we are probably wrapping up now. We've talked about a lot of important topics like America as a country, social media, how that's impacted our lives now. And then, we've talked about movies recently. We talked about our hot takes. But
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to wrap it up soon. But I think we have the most important topic left for last. As of recording this, it is January 23rd. What that means is that it has been 12 days since Ryker has been 17, and it has been 18 days since I have been 17. My birthday is on January 5th, and Ryker's birthday is on January 11th. Do not forget them, and wish us a happy birthday next year once we're 18. Do you have anything else to
Sounds
say,
great.
Ryker?
I guess I'll just end this off. Thank you everybody for listening. I guess if you have any questions or any things you want to say to us, just email us. My email is
Actually,
rkkenberlin.
if we're going to be posting us in the Spectrum YouTube channel, they can just leave a comment.
Oh yeah, facts.
Oh yeah, wait. If we're gonna be posting, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, donate to our Patreon page.
Hit the
Every bit
notification
helps.
button.
Hit the notification button. You have 5 seconds to hit the notification button. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ah!
No, dude, like if you don't hit the subscribe button in 5 seconds, a spider will show up in your bed. Like that type of
Yeah, that kind of like Mr. Beast thing. It's like,
yeah, if you don't hit the subscribe button, you will
you're
have
gonna
bad
get
luck for
all
five
lefts on your
years.
APs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So okay, I'll end it off for real, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Like Ben said, you could just comment on the YouTube video if you want us to do anything new, or if you're tired of us talking about the same things like Star Wars, Or if you want us to watch new TV shows, that'd actually be kind of cool if Ben and I watch new TV shows.
Mhm.
I know not everybody is or really cares about everything that we're talking about, but that's why you guys should recommend us new things to talk about, because we're gonna talk about what
Yeah.
we like, and but we're also gonna mix it with like news and kind of like things I think everybody can relate to. So
Yeah.
I'm Ryker, and
I'm bad.
okay, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks,
Bye.
guys.